Evan Hale lived alone in a quiet orbital station that circled a pale blue star. The station was old but stable, built far from busy trade routes. Evan liked it that way. He worked as a maintenance technician, checking power lines, cleaning sensor arrays, and fixing small problems before they became big ones. His days were calm. His nights were supposed to be calm too. But every night, something impossible happened. The first time, Evan thought it was a dream. He woke up suddenly, his heart beating fast. The lights in his room were dim, set to night mode. Everything looked normal, yet the air felt different. It was warmer, heavier, as if the room had just been occupied by someone else. Then he noticed the smell. It was not unpleasant. It was soft and strange, like clean rain mixed with something sweet and unfamiliar. Evan sat up in bed and looked around. The room was empty. No doors were open. No alarms were ringing. Still, the scent was real. It filled the room, gentle but clear. Evan checked the time. Exactly 02:17. He shrugged it off. Maybe it was a problem with the air system. Maybe he was more tired than he thought. He opened the vent controls and ran a quick air cycle. Slowly, the smell faded. The next morning, everything seemed normal. Evan went to work, fixed a loose panel near the outer ring, and shared a short meal with two other crew members over comms. He did not mention the strange night. By evening, he had almost forgotten it. Then it happened again. At 02:17, Evan woke up. Same pressure in the air, same quiet hum barely audible like a distant vibration. And again the scent. This time he stood up. He walked around the room, checking every corner. He scanned for heat changes, radiation spikes, and movement. Nothing. The sensors showed empty space. Still, the smell lingered as if someone had just left. Evan frowned. He had worked on this station for years. He knew its systems well. This was not normal. On the third night, he left a recorder running. The station had strict security rules. Any unauthorized teleportation or intrusion would trigger alarms across the sector. If someone was entering his room, the logs would prove it. At 02:16, Evan lay awake, pretending to sleep. He watched the clock count down. His room was silent. 02:17. The air changed instantly. It felt like pressure sliding through the walls, not breaking them but passing between them. The faint hum returned, deeper this time. Evan's skin tingled like static electricity. His heart raced. The scent bloomed in the air. Evan sat up quickly and switched on the lights. The room was empty. The recorder showed nothing. No sound. No image. Just a short burst of static at exactly 02:17, then normal recording again. Evan swallowed hard. Someone was coming into his room without touching doors, without triggering sensors, and without leaving any trace except a smell. Over the next few days, Evan became careful. He checked station logs, reviewed security footage, and ran diagnostic scans. Everything came back clean. No errors, no signs of intrusion, but something else changed. Evan noticed he felt better. He slept less but felt more rested. His muscles recovered faster after long shifts. His reflexes sharpened. Once a tool slipped from his hand near an open maintenance hatch. He caught it without thinking, faster than he ever had before. He told himself it was stress or imagination. Still, he began to keep notes. Night after night the visitor came, always at the same time. Always silent, always leaving the scent behind. Evan tried to stay awake and watch. He tried sleeping pills. He tried adjusting the room's gravity and temperature. Nothing stopped it. One night he spoke into the empty air. "I don't know who you are," he said quietly, his voice steady despite his fear. "But you're not hurting me. If you can hear me, I want to understand." There was no answer, only the scent lingering longer than before. Weeks passed. Other crew members started to notice Evan changing. His work performance improved. His reaction times beat station records. During a routine physical scan, the medical AI paused longer than usual. "Your cellular recovery rate has increased by 12%, the AI said. No illness detected. Evan said nothing. Late one night, as he sat alone in his room after the visitor had come and gone, Evan looked at his hands. They trembled slightly, not from fear but from something else. Energy, maybe, or anticipation. Whoever she was doing something to him. Far away from the station, beyond normal space, Lyrie observed. Her kind did not see reality the way humans did. To her, space was layered, folded, and alive with movement. The human station glowed like a fixed point, solid and stubborn in a shifting sea. Lyrie hovered just outside the boundary of human perception. Each visit cost her effort. Each teleport strained her form. Human reality was heavy, dense, dangerous to her species. But Evan Hale made it easier. His presence stabilized the crossing point. His mind did not reject her existence the way others did. Most species collapsed when exposed to her kind's transition field. Humans did not. They adapted. Lyrie did not understand why yet. Only that it mattered. Each time she entered his room, she left behind a trace of herself. The scent was not intentional at first. It was residue, a biological echo of her passage through layers of space. Now she let it remain. It was a marker, a signal. Evan was changing just as predicted. One night something went wrong. At 02:17, Evan woke as usual, but this time the pressure in the air was stronger. The hum deepened, shaking the walls. Lights flickered. Evan sat up, alarmed. The scent appeared sharper than ever. Then for a brief moment he saw her. She stood near the foot of his bed, half-formed like a reflection on moving water. Tall and slender, her outline shimmered between clarity and distortion. Her eyes were large and bright, filled with intelligence and caution. Evan froze. Lyrie froze too. They stared at each other for less than a second. Then the room snapped back to normal. The lights stabilized. The hum vanished. She was gone. Evan gasped for air, his hands gripping the bed sheets. His heart pounded. He knew, without doubt now, that he was not alone. The next morning, station security contacted him. "There was a minor spatial disturbance recorded near your quarters," the officer said. "Nothing dangerous, but we're running checks." Evan nodded and agreed to cooperate. Inside, his thoughts raced. That night he waited. At 02:17, the visitor returned. This time Evan spoke again, his voice calm but firm. "I saw you," he said. "I'm not afraid, you don't have to hide." The air shimmered. Slowly, carefully, Lyrie allowed a fraction of her form to stabilize. She did not fully appear. She could not risk it yet. But her presence filled the room, gentle and cautious. Evan felt warmth wash over him, not physical but emotional. A sense of curiosity mirrored his own. "You are aware," a voice touched his mind, soft and clear, not spoken aloud but understood perfectly. Evan swallowed. "Yes. Your species adapts," the voice continued. "That is rare." Evan did not know what to say, so he told the truth. "You've been coming every night. You leave something behind, a scent." A ripple of emotion passed through her presence, something like surprise. "It is a trace of transition," she said. "I did not know you would perceive it so clearly." Evan exhaled slowly. "Why me?" There was a pause. "Because you remain whole," she replied, "and because your kind may soon be needed." Before Evan could ask more, the pressure increased again. Lyrie's presence wavered. "I cannot stay," she said. "Not yet." The room returned to silence. The scent lingered, stronger than ever. Evan sat on his bed long after she was gone, staring at the empty space where she had stood. He did not know what was coming, but he knew one thing for certain. Humanity was no longer unnoticed. The days after the first real contact felt unreal to Evan Hale. He went through his routines like always, but his mind stayed fixed on one thought. She was real. She had spoken to him, not through sound but directly into his thoughts, clear and calm. At night, he no longer pretended to sleep. He waited. At 02:17, the pressure returned, softer than before, as if careful not to disturb him. The air shimmered faintly. The scent appeared, familiar now, almost comforting. Lyrie did not fully appear, but her presence was stronger. Evan could sense her attention, focused and curious. "You came back," Evan said quietly. "Yes," the voice replied in his mind, "because you were not afraid." Evan gave a small smile. "I was afraid, I just didn't run." "That is different," Larry said. Over the following nights they spoke more. Larry explained in simple terms, choosing concepts Evan could understand. Her species did not live fully in physical space. They existed across layers of reality, moving between them naturally. What humans called teleportation was, to her kind, simply a step sideways. But stepping into human space was dangerous. "Your reality is heavy," Larry explained. "It presses inward, most forms break under it." Evan listened carefully. "But you don't, not with me." "That is correct," she said. "Near you the pressure lessens, the crossing stabilizes." Evan felt a strange mix of pride and fear. "So I'm an anchor." "Yes." As the nights passed, Evan's abilities continued to improve. He moved faster, thought clearer. His senses sharpened. He could hear subtle changes in the station's hum, feel vibrations through the floor before alarms triggered. Medical scans showed steady changes, stronger neural connections, faster healing. The station doctor was puzzled but not alarmed. "You're within safe limits," the doctor said. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." Evan said nothing about Lyrie. He trusted her, but he was not ready to share her existence with others. Not yet. One night, Evan asked the question that had been growing in his mind. "Why are you studying humans?" he asked. There was a longer pause than usual. "Because something is coming," Larry said at last. "Something that consumes existence itself." Evan's chest tightened. "Consumes how?" "It removes," she replied. "Not destroys, erases." Entire civilizations vanish as if they were never there. Evan thought of Earth, of billions of people who had no idea such a threat existed. "And your people can't stop it." "We have tried," Larry said. "Many species have tried, all failed." Evan clenched his fists. "Then why us?" "Because humans endure exposure that others cannot," she said. "Because your minds accept contradiction, because you adapt under pressure instead of collapsing." Evan was silent for a long time. "So I'm not just a test," he said finally. "I'm proof." "Yes." That truth changed everything. Lyrie became more careful after that. She limited her visits, fearing too much exposure might draw attention from forces she did not fully understand. But even with fewer visits, the changes in Evan continued. He began to see patterns in noise, order in chaos. During a system's failure, he rerouted power through damaged conduits by instinct, saving the station from a full shutdown. Crew members started to rely on him more. "You're different lately," one of them said during a repair shift. "Sharper," Evan smiled. "Just paying attention." Deep within alien observation space, Lyrie's people watched Evan's progress with intense focus. To them, humans were still new, unpredictable, and dangerous in their own way. "The subject stabilizes transitions," one elder observed, "faster than projections." "Then the theory is correct," another replied. "Humans are compatible, but untested," a third warned. "They act before understanding consequences." Larry listened but said nothing. She had seen Evan's thoughts, his concern for others, his refusal to abandon responsibility. He was not reckless. He was human. One night, the station detected a distant anomaly. A patch of space where sensors failed, where background radiation vanished entirely. Evan felt it before alarms sounded. "The pressure is changing," he said as Lyrie appeared faintly beside his bed. "Something's wrong." Lyrie's presence sharpened instantly. "The erasing field," she said. "It is closer than predicted." "How close?" Evan asked. "Close enough that your kind will soon notice." Evan stood. "Then we need to warn them." Larry hesitated. "Revealing us too soon could cause panic." Evan met the empty space where he sensed her gaze. "People deserve a chance." Her silence carried conflict. "You trust your species," she said. "I do," Evan replied, "even when we're scared." That night, Lyrie stayed longer than ever before. Her form stabilized enough for Evan to see her clearly. She was tall, graceful, her surface shifting like light on water. Her eyes reflected entire layers of reality. "You are changing faster now," she said. "Soon, others will notice." "Let them," Evan said. "I won't hide." The next day, the station command called an emergency meeting. The anomaly had grown. Ships sent to investigate vanished from sensors without debris. Fear spread quickly. Evan stood among officers and scientists, his heart steady. He spoke when no one else could explain the data. "It's not destruction," he said. "It's removal." They stared at him. "How do you know?" the commander asked. Evan took a breath. "Because someone who lives between realities told me." Silence filled the room. Then the lights flickered. A familiar pressure rolled through the station, but stronger, wider. Not centered on Evan's room this time, but spreading outward. Larry's voice filled Evan's mind, urgent. "They are reacting to discovery," she said. "The field senses observation." Evan stepped forward. "What do we do?" "You anchor," Larry replied. "You help others do the same." "How?" "By standing your ground," she said. "By being present." Evan felt something shift inside him like a door opening. The scent he had grown used to spread beyond his quarters, faint but real, drifting through corridors. Crew members paused, confused. "What's that smell?" someone asked. Evan closed his eyes and focused, steady and calm. The pressure eased slightly. The station remained. Larry watched in awe. "He is extending the anchor," she whispered to her people across layers of space. "Not just himself, others feel it." The elders exchanged silent signals. "This changes everything," one said. The erasing field slowed near the station, its edge trembling as if meeting resistance for the first time in its long existence. Evan opened his eyes. He was afraid, but he did not move. And for the first time in countless cycles, the consuming force hesitated before a human presence. Hesitation did not last long. Space around the station trembled, not with sound, but with absence. Sensors struggled to read the area ahead. Numbers dropped to zero, then vanished entirely, as if the data itself had been erased. Crew members watched their screens in silence, fear heavy in the air. Evan stood at the center of the command deck. He could feel the pressure now, not just around him, but pressing against his thoughts. It was cold and empty, like a deep void that wanted to swallow everything. Larry's presence wrapped around his mind, steadier than before. "It is testing you," she said. "It does not understand resistance." Evan swallowed. His heart pounded, but he stayed where he was. "Then let it learn." The scent grew stronger, spreading through the station. It was no longer confined to small spaces. It flowed through vents along corridors into living quarters and control rooms. People noticed. Some panicked. Others felt something else, calm. A young engineer grabbed a railing as the station shook lightly. "I don't know why," she said, breathing fast, "but I feel steady." "You're not alone," another crew member replied, surprised by his own calm voice. Evan closed his eyes. He focused on breathing, on being present, on the solid feeling of the floor beneath his feet. Larry guided him gently, helping him shape the strange connection forming around him. "You are not fighting it," she said. "You are denying it permission." The erasing field pressed closer. Parts of nearby debris vanished instantly, leaving clean, empty gaps in space. A probe disappeared mid-signal. The station did not. Human ships arrived from nearby sectors, drawn by distress calls. As they entered the affected zone, their systems flickered, but stabilized when they moved closer to the station. Commanders stared in disbelief. "Our ships should be gone," one said, "but they're holding." Larry reached out across layers of space, her kind watching closely. "The human anchor is expanding," she told them. "Not through technology, through presence." Some of her people were afraid, others were hopeful. "This was never predicted," an elder said. "One individual influencing many." "He is not alone anymore," Larry replied. On the station, Evan opened his eyes. He could sense others now, not their thoughts, but their steadiness. Fear still existed, but it no longer ruled them. Humans were adapting together. The erasing field recoiled slightly as if confused. Evan felt pain then. Sharp, sudden, like pressure pushing inward. He staggered, catching himself on a console. Evan, Larry said urgently, it is focusing on you. You are the strongest point. Evan gritted his teeth. Then that's where I'll stand. The commander approached him carefully. Whatever you're doing, she said, keep doing it. Evan nodded, sweat forming on his brow. His body shook, but he stayed upright. Memories flashed through his mind. Earth, open skies, people laughing, quiet mornings. He held onto them, grounding himself in what existed. The erasing field pushed again. This time it met resistance across multiple points. Human ships, human minds, human presence, all holding reality in place. For the first time, the force changed behavior. It pulled back. A wave of relief swept through the station. Some crew members laughed in disbelief. Others cried quietly. Larry's presence trembled with something like wonder. It is retreating, she said. Not defeated, but aware. Evan sank to his knees, exhausted. The pressure eased, leaving behind silence and the lingering scent. Medical teams rushed to him, but he waved them off weakly. I'm okay, he said. Just tired. Larry stayed with him as the station stabilized. Repairs began. Reports spread across human networks. Stories of ships surviving impossible conditions. Of space itself bending but not breaking around humans. Far beyond, other species watched in shock. The erasing force withdrew, one alien observer said. That has never happened. Because humans stood in its way, another replied. Larry's people gathered in quiet council. We misjudged them, an elder admitted. They are not fragile. They are anchors, Larry said simply. Days passed. The erasing field did not return. Not yet. Evan recovered slowly. His body had changed further, adapting to the strain. Doctors could not fully explain it, but they no longer tried to hide their amazement. You're still human, one said, just more. Evan smiled faintly. I feel the same. Larry visited less often now, but when she did, she no longer hid. Her form stabilized fully in Evan's room, clear and luminous. The scent was still there, but softer, familiar. You have altered the balance, she told him one night. The galaxy will not forget this. Evan leaned back, looking at the ceiling. I didn't do it alone. No, Larry agreed. You showed others how. Human leadership began formal contact with Larry's people, cautious at first, then curious. Agreements were made, knowledge shared, not weapons but understanding. Humans were not the strongest species, not the most advanced. But they were adaptable in a way no one had expected. When the erasing force appeared again, far from human space, it met resistance sooner. Anchors formed naturally wherever humans were present. The force learned to avoid them. Evan returned to quieter work eventually. He still lived on the station, though it was no longer remote. Ships passed by often now, some just to see the place where reality had held. Late at night, at 02:17, Evan sometimes woke to the familiar warmth and scent. Larry would stand nearby, watching the stars through the viewport. You could stay longer now, Evan said once. I could, she replied, but I like coming and going. It reminds me of who I am. Evan nodded. You still leave your scent behind. She tilted her head slightly. Do you mind? He smiled. No, it reminds me that we're not alone. She looked at him then, truly looked, with eyes that had seen many layers of existence. Where humans stand, she said softly, reality listens. The pressure never returned to his room the way it once had. Only the scent, and the quiet certainty that humanity had found its place, not as conquerors but as guardians of what exists.